Hello friends, and welcome to my channel for another custom action figure video. Today we're taking a look at my custom 1/12 scale soft goods Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent from the Superman movies. I've wanted to make this guy for a long time. I had kind of a prototype one for a while that I ended up switching out. But the parts I needed for this one finally came out. This thing finally happened. So let's get into it. The base body is from the knees up. This guy from Mezco, the I think Major Tot, I don't know how to say his name. He's from Indiana Jones. He's the bad guy from the first movie, T-O-H-T. There's been some changes since this came out. Those buttons are not there. They're like little kind of printed on ones. But, you know, I saw that suit and I was like, that's the Clark Kent I need right there. It's the old school style double-breasted suit. He comes with a fedora. He's got like the brogue shoes on. It's perfect. So I just had to wait for that thing basically to come out, and it finally arrived yesterday and I got to work. Thankfully I had the day off and it was perfect. Now what wasn't perfect about it was I didn't realize at the time that the figure was actually very short. He's, you know, a shorter character, I guess. And Mezco used their regular upper body, and then from the knees down, they just gave him like short shins. He was like Cotton Hill from King of the Hill. So I had to swap those out. Initially, I was going to change the whole body out for a different blank body and then put all the clothing on him. But the white dress shirt he's got on was tailored so well to that body, and it was on there so tightly and sewn in and everything. And I didn't want to mess with it. So I said, you know what, let me just swap out the lower legs and keep everything else. And thankfully, Mezco does seem to have switched to double jointed arms or double jointed elbows for like all of their, you know, figures that even you wouldn't expect them to. Like this would have been on the like old school Joker buck previously, and it pretty much was, except for they swapped out the elbow joints. So hopefully that's something they do moving forward. The rest of it is pretty straightforward. The pants are a little short, so I did have to kind of sag them on him a little bit to make them work. But you know, the coat is double breasted and it's pretty long, so you don't see that, thankfully. And then for the pocket square, it was red on the original figure, so that had to be swapped out for something white like what he would wear in the Superman movies. And you know, for this one I based a lot of it on the J&D Studios statue. I think it's a 3rd scale statue. They did a Clark Kent and a Superman, and this is pretty much the pose that he's in with the coat and the hat and the briefcase. Now the briefcase is sort of a combination of something I had and something I made. It was like this side bag thing from I believe a Mezco Heroes character, from like one of those old figures from way back in the day. And I kept it in my fodder bin because I was like, I'll use this for something. I think it was from the character Hero, actually. And it was the right size and shape, and so I just wrapped it in some brown pleather and painted the sides of it, and then I made the straps out of strips of pleather and this like jewelry wire that I keep on hand that I use for all kinds of little metal pieces of stuff. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. I love doing the little detail work like that. And then the clasp is made from some like scrap aluminum stuff that I keep on hand for, you know, little odds and ends. Getting into the head sculpt, this was a blank Christopher Reeve Superman sculpt that I found on eBay. And I have a custom Superman with the same head. We'll put that next to this one in a second here. I wanted them to have the same face. You know, I wanted it to be the same head sculpt. There are a lot of different Christopher Reeve Superman heads out there, but I wanted them to be consistent. That's why I didn't use one of the Mezco ones that I have. I thought that would be important for these two to be cohesive together. One of the key things, though, the differences between the two is that when he's Clark Kent, his hair is combed very flat to his head and it is parted on the other side. So I needed to sand not only his hair down, but also the spit curl in the front needed to go away. So I very carefully shaved that off with an X-Acto knife, and then I dremeled the hair down, and then I sanded the forehead smooth along with the hair. And then I added hair using yarn. This is something I've done to several figures, like my Flash movie Supergirl figure. I've done it a bunch of times with different figures. I really love this technique of just adding that extra little bit of realism. And I just didn't want to sculpt hair. Like, I think, you know, it would have looked fine, but it's hard to sculpt at this scale and have it be subtle enough because your tools are big and, you know, your fingers are big and this is small. So I wanted it to be very delicate. And here he is with Superman, and these two just look so cool together. Oh, I forgot to mention also his trench coat was from GPS Lot on eBay. They have a bunch of 1/12 scale soft goods. It's so cool to have them next to each other. I tried to pose Clark in a way where he's kind of hunching a little bit, and I think I'll get it a little better in a second here. But yeah, you know, it's just like, it's cool to see the juxtaposition. They're about the same height, even though they're different bodies, which is nice. Yeah, you know, it's funny, like the glasses really do kind of obscure who he is. I mean, obviously it's the same guy, we all know this, but like his presentation is so different as Clark. And I think Christopher Reeve, you know, that's all credit to him for how he played it so differently. You know, there's that famous scene where he stands up straight and takes off his glasses when he's going to tell Lois who he is, and then he changes his mind. And you can just see like how much he hunches and everything. Kind of hard to do that in action figure form, but yeah, I'm just so pleased with how this looks. That angle right there is like my favorite, I think. And gosh, just those big old glasses. Now, I did add lenses to these. I'll talk about what the glasses are in a minute here. But I've thought about just having them be open, like no lenses in the frames. But I really wanted them to have that reflective quality when the light hits them, because it just, there's nothing else like it. You can't really make that happen in any other way. And so I was just like, there's got to be something there. And it kind of dulls his eyes a little bit. And that is the point of the glasses in a way. And in fact, there's a really nice scene about that in Mark Waid and Lineal Francis Yu's Superman Birthright, which is a really, really great like standalone Superman origin story graphic novel that they borrowed a lot of for Man of Steel. But there's a scene where he puts glasses on for the first time, and his mom is like, yeah, you need these. They hide the blue of your eyes. Like the blue's always been so intense. And that does that here. So that was kind of a fun little moment. Colored by Dave McKeag, by the way. The fedora he comes with is a little big, or I should say that the Indiana Jones figure comes with. It's a little big, but you know, in his hand, it's fine. If you put it on his head, it looks a little goofy. It kind of looks like Pharrell in that big Arby's hat he was wearing. But I do have a smaller fedora, but I use it on my custom Rocky Balboa figure, and that's one I'm going to upgrade because that's an old like NECA one that I made a long time ago, and I want to make a soft goods style one like this. So, you know, for it being in his hand, I think it's perfect. But yeah, I'm just so excited to have this and to see these two rotating together. Like I said, this one has been in the works. You know, it's been a plan to make this for a super long time. So having it done and looking at it on the shelf is pretty great. Now, this Mezco Superman is obviously not stock in a lot of ways. You know, I changed the head. I repainted the neck to match the paint on the head. And I did that on the Clark Kent figure as well. And then I did some light modifications to the cape. The cape like stood up too tall on his shoulders. It didn't lay right. So I used some double-sided tape underneath where it connects to the shoulders, and it really helped kind of lay it down and make it a lot more realistic and look like it has some gravity to it. Yeah, you know, it's, again, just look at the difference. It is kind of wild. I mean, we always kind of make that joke of like, oh, everybody would notice. And I think they would to a degree. A lot of people would. But, you know, there's like a video of Henry Cavill promoting either Man of Steel or BVS, and he walked around Times Square with a Superman shirt on, and not a single person stopped him. So now this is what I use for the glasses. I got these from GPS Lot, which I mentioned before, the eBay seller. And they're just these like little punch out aluminum glasses, and they come in a few different sizes on the same sheet. As you can see, I've used some already for different projects. And for the lenses, I actually used like, there's a clear backing sheet on these, and I just cut out the holes where the lenses were. And they're already a little bit sticky, but I glued them to the back. They do come in this like brushed aluminum look, and then I painted them to have that like tortoise shell finish, which I'm really happy with. It's so fun to do something like that, so tiny. So here they are as they live on my shelf. I showed this Superman. I actually did an in-depth video on him, like I think 2 videos ago, so check that in the feed. And so this is where he is on the shelf in this kind of little fortress dio that I made. The stand itself is from the Mezco set. And yeah, this is where Clark's gonna live. I might try to do kind of a I don't know, like some kind of a thing where it's like Clark has his own sort of background, maybe on the left there, like a brick wall, or I don't know, something that's kind of evocative of like Metropolis, downtown, Daily Planet. Maybe a picture of the revolving door or something, and I can just kind of like have it on the left side of the plexiglass there. We'll see. But I love having a more complete setup with 2 figures in there. And yeah, I'm still just so happy with this. Like, it really looks I mean, honestly, I think this head sculpt looks more like him as Clark than it does as Superman. I think it's a phenomenal head sculpt. I think it looks a lot like him. It's probably the best, in my opinion, the best Reeve sculpt we've seen from anybody. I don't know who made this, you know, somebody in overseas probably. There's a lot of sculptors like in Korea and China that do these pretty incredible sculpts. But here it is with the base all lit up. Not something I do regularly, just because, you know, I don't want to have to like open the case, turn the switch on, close the case, all that stuff. But yeah, what a cool base. I'm so, you know, I'm kind of out on Mezco. Like, this Indiana Jones villain guy that I used for the base of this was my second to last pre-order outstanding. I have the Power Rangers on pre-order, and then I'm done as of now. I mean, that was my whole when the Batman came out and it was so crappy and I had to fix it and I broke the leg and I was like, I'm done giving this company money. I meant it. So we'll see how long I typically stick to my word, but you know, they might put something out that I just can't pass up. We'll see. I don't know. But if anything, I'm going to buy it because it's going to be fodder for a custom, or it's going to be parts or like some piece that I can't get anywhere else. Like with this one, you can't find a double-breasted long suit with pinstripes like that anywhere. So, but yeah, that's gonna just about wrap this up. If you enjoyed this, please hit like. You know, that feeds the algorithm so that people can find this video, because otherwise they don't know it exists. Also, sharing it with somebody you know who loves Superman or action figures or both, or who likes miniatures or any kind of, you know, craft would be cool. I'd really appreciate that. And then if you would be so kind as to stay tuned, the last minute or so, it's kind of a pre-recorded bumper I have that just talks about some of the graphic novels I have available. I am a comic book artist and writer full-time, so I go through some of the books I have and a brief little preview of what each of them is, and also talk about some t-shirts I have available. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to click the bell notification, that'll let you know when I have a new video go up. And until next time, take care of yourselves and keep your head on swivel. So that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I invite you to click the like button and hit subscribe and join me as I make cool stuff. Custom figures, dioramas, vehicles to go with the figures. I review new stuff that I get on the channel. If you're looking for other ways to support this, I've got t-shirts available. My Head on Swivel shirt, as well as several other action figure and comic book themed shirts, are available in my Redbubble shop. If you've never used Redbubble, it's pretty great. You pick the color shirt, the style, and the design you want, and they ship it right to you. Now, if you're not a t-shirt person, but you like comics, I've got several comics and graphic novels available, namely my books High Crimes, Count, and Retroactive. High Crimes is kind of Breaking Bad meets Cliffhanger. Retroactive is like James Bond meets Groundhog Day, and Count is my sci-fi reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo. Think kind of a, John Wick meets Batman meets Zorro. It's a cool story with swashbuckling action and sword fights and vehicle chases, and it's about redemption, revenge, and revolution. So those are all available at your local comic shop, bookstore, or at the links in the description below. So to everyone who's picked up a shirt already or one of my books, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. I really, really appreciate it. It really helps make it so that I can do this kind of stuff and bring you more videos. Couldn't ask for anything more, so thank you. So that is going to do it for this one. Until next time, keep your head on swivel.